Today we're diving deep into the RC world of mini ready-to-run crawlers, with 4 different crawlers to talk about. Each of these trucks come pre-assembled, including the transmitter, and they're all available for under $200. Now going head-to-head are the 4Runner Mini-Z from Kyosho, the Enduro24 from Element RC, the SCX24 from Axial, and last but not least, the Tetra X1 from Panda Hobby. These trucks vary in size, capabilities, scale realism, and price points. Which one is best for you? Let's find out. For our comparison, we'll compare many areas of these trucks, but if you want the complete rundown on all the details, we'll have links down below for you to check out. Now let's start this off. For our sizing, the Mini-Z is 1/28 scale, the Enduro and SCX24 are 1/24 scale, and the Tetra is 1/18 scale. Now for vehicle batteries, the Mini-Z runs off of 4 AAA batteries, and they're not included. The Enduro24 includes 1 LiPo battery. It's a 1S 540 milliamp hour. The SCX24 includes 1 LiPo battery as well. It's a 2S 350 milliamp hour. And then the Tetra X1 includes 2 LiPo batteries. They're each 2S 500 milliamp hour. Now to charge those batteries, the Mini-Z does not include a charger because it runs off of AAAs, but the Enduro24, the SCX, and the Tetra all include a USB style charger for those included LiPo batteries. Now for the charge time, that's not applicable on the Mini-Z, but for the Enduro24, you can charge up that 1S LiPo in about 90 minutes. For the SCX24, you can charge up that 2-cell in about 2 hours. And then with the Tetra X1, you can charge up one of those LiPos in about 30 minutes. Now for the included transmitters, they also require batteries. For the Mini-Z, it requires 4 AAA batteries. They're not included. The Enduro also requires 4 AAA batteries. They're not included. And then lastly, the SCX and the Tetra both require 4 AA batteries, but they are included. So to round up those required items, the Mini-Z does require 8 AAA batteries to operate. The Enduro24 requires 4 AAA batteries, and then the SCX24 and the Tetra required nothing to run out of the box. As far as runtime goes, the Mini-Z will reach approximately an hour of runtime on AAA batteries. The Enduro24, the SCX24, and the Tetra X1, you can expect around 30 minutes of runtime on those LiPos, but keep in mind it varies depending on the conditions and how hard you drive the trucks. Now for our shock suspension on these trucks, the Mini-Z, the Enduro, and the SCX all have coilover spring shocks. And you'll notice they look a little bouncy. But on the Tetra X1, this vehicle is the only in these 4 that includes oil-filled shocks. Now on the underside of these trucks, they all have a link suspension. For the Mini-Z, it's a 3-link wishbone front and rear. On the Enduro24, it's a proper 4-link front and rear. With the SCX24, we have a 3-link wishbone front and then a 4-link rear end. And then lastly, the Tetra also features a 4-link front and rear. For our steering servo layout on the Mini-Z, it's a CMS chassis mounted servo. You'll also find that CMS setup on the Enduro24. But on the SCX24 and the Tetra, they both feature a servo on axle setup, where that servo is stationary on the axle and kind of bobs and pivots in between the chassis rails. For our motor and transmission setup, the Mini-Z features a standard center-mounted transmission and motor. On the Enduro24, it actually features a forward-mounted motor and transmission with a center transfer case. And then on the SCX and the Tetra, they both also feature that center-mounted transmission and motor. For upgradability and aftermarket part support, with the Mini-Z, there are no parts available. For the Enduro24, there are no parts available either at the time we filmed this, but this is the most recent truck to be released, and there will be aftermarket parts in the future. For the SCX24, there are a lot of aftermarket parts available to either enhance scale realism or raw crawling performance. And then lastly, on the Tetra X1, there are no aftermarket part support. Now when it comes to lighting and LEDs, with the Mini-Z, there are no LEDs included, but the front and rear lenses on the body are ready for you to add your own LEDs. On the Enduro24, there are 2 front LEDs in the bumper, and they turn on when you apply power to the vehicle, and their brightness is actually dictated by how much throttle you give the truck. The SCX24 also includes 2 front bumper LEDs that stay on all the time. And then lastly, the Tetra X1 features the most robust LED setup with rear brake lights that stay on all the time until you apply throttle. And then there's also backup lights when you apply reverse. The Tetra also features front headlights and an LED light bar on the roof that you can turn on and off with a switch on the transmitter. Now for special features, the Mini-Z includes a hidden body fastening system that uses posts that poke through the bottom of the chassis secured by these wires, all in an effort to keep the body looking really scale realistic. For the Enduro24, it's the only to feature that forward motor and transmission setup, which not only looks more accurate, but it also puts more of the chassis weight up front over that front axle. And then with the SCX24, you'll find that the body is actually hinged on the rear end, secured by only one body clip, making accessing the chassis pretty quick and convenient. The SCX24 also has a low, medium, and high switch on the ESC, so you can adjust the throttle response when you pull the trigger. For the Tetra X1, it also features that low, medium, and high ESC switch on the transmitter. Now when it comes to throttle response, we left that low, medium, and high switch on the medium setting for both the Tetra and the SCX24. And as we try to be as smooth and precise on the throttle trigger as possible, the SCX24 is the most precise and smooth on that throttle response. The Enduro24 comes in second. The Mini-Z comes in third. And the Tetra X1 comes in fourth. Now for our axle clearance with these mini trucks, the SCX24 again has the most clearance underneath that axle to give you more clearance on the trail. And it's probably due to it also having the largest diameter tires to lift that axle up. The Tetra X1 then comes in second with a close tie between the Enduro24 and the Mini-Z. Okay, let's see how these trucks perform on our mini crawler course. Now this course starts out with a 1.5 inch or 3.8 centimeter lip to get up on the board, followed by some small river rock, then a climb up old wood, followed by a spline designed to snag the skid plate, and then over our little bridge and down to our climb up this decal filled board that sits at about 43 or 44 degrees. First up is the Mini-Z. Now with a little speed, we get over the lip. For its smaller size, the Mini-Z suspension takes the rocks, no problem. No issues over the spline. But we cannot make it up the climb. Here is the Enduro24. Again, a little speed needed to clear the lip, but we're up. No issues through the rocks. Cleared the spline. But we cannot climb up.
Make it.
Now the SCX24. Up and over pretty easy thanks to these big tires. No issues through the rocks. Definitely no issue over the spline. Now Now with our climb, the truck really wanted to make it up. But couldn't do it without a little help repositioning it. And here is the Tetra X1. Up and over no problem. Those oil-filled shocks look nice and smooth through the rocks. But now with the spline, we get hung up. All right, now our climb, and we go up, and we fell off the table.
Started good.
Here's take 2, and we set the truck right on the board, and it handles this climb quite well. Probably due to its extra size and definitely weight. So in conclusion, the Mini-Z 4x4 is all about the scale details and realism built into that amazing body. This is arguably the most scale mini crawler experience available, and it doesn't come cheap with a price tag of $199.99. The Mini-Z 4x4 also performs impressively well with smooth response and long 60-minute run times. The Mini-Z 4x4 is also available in the Jimny Sierra body style. Now the Enduro24 is the least expensive truck of the bunch, and it's all about performance, offering great crawling ability, a forward motor placement, and smooth ESC response. Once aftermarket parts and tires become available, we will see the true crawling capabilities of this truck. Until then, the Enduro24 is our second best performing truck, second only to the SCX24, which is the best performer of this group, offering exceptional performance, smoothness, and ground clearance. The SCX24 price tag is on the higher end, and battery charge times are the longest of the group, but for the best performing out-of-the-box truck, the SCX24 takes the cake. The SCX24 is also available in a variety of body styles. Now the Tetra X1 is probably our best all-arounder, and it's purely centered around having the most fun. It's not the best performer, and it's not the most scale realistic body, but with 2 batteries included, the fastest charge times of all the trucks, and the cool LED lighting system, the Tetra X1 will keep driving the longest and offers a lot of value for the driver who doesn't need the best and just wants to have fun. And the Tetra is also offered in this K1 body style. Now I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and leave us any questions or comments down below. I'm Brett from AMain Hobbies. Thanks for watching.